Today, we're going to talk about creating content that gets you high-ticket clients on LinkedIn. So with that being said, let's get started. So what you will learn today is the 5 following steps. I'm going to go over these in extremely detail. So first, we're going to go over the hook formula. So how can you write scroll stopping first lines? Super, super important. Then I'm going to go over what I like to call authority content. So this is the content we create to build trust and attract ideal clients. A lot of data like examples coming there. I'm going to speak about hand raisers. These are the posts we use to get DMs and generate leads almost instantly. I'm going to talk about clear call to actions, which is super important. Like, what is the main action you want your reader to take after reading your post? And I'm going to go over viral visuals, because we see like the visual aspect on LinkedIn becoming more and more important. So I'm definitely taking some time out of the session to spend about the visuals there. So besides me dropping the value here in this session, I have a few bonuses included, which you can get access to if you stay till the end of the session. So one of them is a breakdown of how Joshua, one of our clients, he booked 4 calls and saved his agency over $10,000 with just one post. So I completely broke that down. And if you stay to the end, I can give that to you. I've created a hook training with 19 hook templates. Super, super important. I've also broken down one of our recent viral authority posts, super detailed. So if you're interested in that, make sure to get that resource. I'm going to give you away a template for the next hand raiser post. And the last thing that I can give to you today is 6 types of LinkedIn call to actions for more leads. So with that being said, let's get started here. So I'm going to go over this deck, and especially the deck for today is pretty dense. So it's, I think, like 50 slides or something. So if you want to get access to this training doc, make sure to drop training in the comment section, and then my team will make sure to DM you this PDF after the session. So that might be very interesting for you if you're like, hey, Jesse, you drop a lot of like good insights. I don't want to take too many notes, or I don't want to like get too many screenshots. Just comment training below and we'll make sure to send you the PDF afterwards. All right. So quick recap here. So why we're here. Why LinkedIn content is super, super important. Like yesterday, I talked about how LinkedIn is the number one platform for B2B marketing and for organic high ticket leads. Decision makers like CEO and other executives, but also business owners, are looking for trusted experts daily. And strategic content, which is a core topic of today, of course, helps you build trust, visibility, and inbound leads. And I looked a little bit into the data, and we can see that 89% of B2B marketers are using LinkedIn. So to me, that's a good indication that for B2B marketing is just the number one tool, right? And then on the other end, we see that LinkedIn is the effectiveness of LinkedIn versus other social media tools such as Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, etc. in the B2B space is 277%. So if you're selling B2B services or your service provider of any kind, LinkedIn is the place to be. So hopefully towards at the end of this session, I have convinced you that if you're not posting on LinkedIn, you should get started. And if you already get started with LinkedIn, hopefully this session will help you how to do that better. So don't let the LinkedIn feed fool you these days, because I don't know about you, but sometimes my feed gives this super random, like viral content, and good for the dopamine hits, like 26,000 likes, 600 comments, and 2,000 reposts. I'm sure this guy got a boost in views and a boost in audience, but don't let it fool you. These posts rarely get leads or any business. So sure, these metrics are important in terms of reach and exposure, but don't stare too much on vanity metrics. But if you create the right piece of content, and you can definitely see results. And this is something that one of our clients, his name is Josh, short for Joshua, he booked 4 calls and saved his business $10,000 with one post. And this post completely cut through the noise. So for context, he runs a very successful 8-figure paid advertisement company for e-commerce brands. And he currently pays around like $2,000 to $3,000 to book a call through Meta and Google. So he was looking for an organic way to get leads and to get clients. So we helped him set this up. This is like a giveaway post where he just broken down like the best practices on like flow optimization, something he does within the industry, within an agency, and he gave it his way to his audience. So Super, super important. He booked 4 calls, and on the front end alone, he saved his agency $10,000 in ad spend. So that's how, if you have the right piece of content, it's not about the likes, because as you can see, 80 likes and 134 comments. If you had to compare that to the other post with 26,000 comments or likes, then I'm sure this one made much more money. So if you want to see, if you're an agency owner, or you just want to see how these viral giveaway posts or these lead magnet posts, as some people call it on LinkedIn, work, I broke down Joshua's case study in detail. So just comment Joshua below, and then we will send you this full case study document within 24 hours of this live stream. And this post is just a beautiful testament of how a specific authority building piece just cuts through the noise. And yes, it gets only 80 likes and only 130 comments in Joshua's case, but it yielded him 94 engaged leads. On the front end alone, he booked four meetings with highly qualified people, and he didn't have to spend over $10,000 on ad spend. It's pretty crazy, right? And a few of those clients they're still talking with, and if they close them, it's pure profit. So that's super cool. That's the power of content in play. So why am I sharing this with you? So for the people that are here for the first time, the people that just have seen my face, but I never introduced myself. My name is Jesse van Breugel. Like I said in the intro, I'm from Holland originally. So my surname is, for the non-Dutch speaking people, is very hard to pronounce. So that's why back in the days, I added a purple dot, because my branding is obviously purple, and that kind of stick with me. So I'm a top 50 creator in the marketing and sales category. I generate over $1.55 million in client revenue just on LinkedIn for our clients. I built a fairly big LinkedIn audience over the last few years. And in the last few years, also a few 7- and 8-figure clients trusted me with their personal brand growth. So to me, all very cool stuff. So some of the results we're seeing with people we help with is we work with a bunch of people. Most of them are business owners, small business owners. We worked with Linda. We helped her close a 7.5K deal on a new offer. Michael, super good result. He landed a 7-figure customer in 12 weeks for a SaaS agency. Nicholas, he built out his new group coaching program. Gabriel, she closed 15,000 euros in revenue. Tobias did a great job by just filling out his pipeline, 30 minutes a day of LinkedIn. And on the front end, he made like 50K in contracts. Pretty nuts. And John here, he learned marketing skills for lifetime, but also closed 3 retained clients. He's getting a bunch of money coming into his performance coaching business. And this is just like a snapshot of the results that are possible on LinkedIn. And in today's session, I'm just going to break through and show you how content just plays a pivotal part in that. So again, how to create LinkedIn content that converts. So the 5 core pillars is the hooks, the authority content, hand raiser post, call to actions, and visuals. So let's start with numero uno. So pillar number 1, the hook formula. So why hooks are critical. So the first 2 lines of your post are make or break. It's literally, some people, it's hard, of course, to quantify it, but I would definitely argue that 95% of the success of your post has to do with your hook. Because if this first part sucks, no one is going to click see more. If no one clicks see more, the post doesn't get any engagement and doesn't get pushed to your audience. So yeah, hooks decide whether people scroll past or engage. The first line must grab attention immediately, and without a great hook, even the best content gets ignored. I found this great hook from my friend Jasmine. I'm sure some of y'all know him. Like, he got a super big audience on LinkedIn, and he's just a very, very kind dude. So plus he writes very good hooks. So often when I'm stuck on hooks, I take a glance at what he's doing, and like I said, this is a super good hook. I remember what it felt like to be, quotes, invisible. 3 years ago, I was at 0 followers and at $0 from LinkedIn. Well, if I'm in his niche and I want to write on LinkedIn, and I'm kind of on the fence, and I know that he has achieved something, this is a great hook, because he opens a curiosity gap. So for me, it's like, okay, I want to see what is the story, because he told me the starting point. I kind of know the current point, like the end destination. So what happened in between? And I'm not the only one, because as you can see, 2,000 people liked the post and 1,800 comments. So pretty good results. So hooks, super, super critical. So in terms of the hook formula, this is a formula that I use all the time, basically problem, pain, solution. So with the first line, you want to start with a problem your audience can't ignore. So for example, as you can see here, 99% of your LinkedIn posts are being ignored. So I'm stating a problem that I know my target audience has. In the second line, I'm agitating the pain further. You're losing clients and credibility every day. Ouch. Imagine you're posting content, you're writing your hooks, you're writing your middle section, you're writing a call to action, but 99% of that being ignored. And whilst you know that LinkedIn is important, LinkedIn is a channel where you want to grow. Yeah, you can't make it work. So you definitely feel this pain of, oh shit, I'm losing clients and credibility every day, and that's not something you want to do, right? So I just had so I'm just like stating the problem and then agitating the pain. And then what I'm going to do from the third line onwards, I'm going to lead with the solution. But the beauty here is that that's hidden under the see more. So as you can see, the hooks is often 2 lines, especially when you do when you have a visual in there. So that's why, for the sake of like simplicity, I took 2 lines. But then in the third line onwards, I lead with a solution. So if you can't, of course, click on this, but if I would click on this, you will see use this three-step hook formula to turn views into leads. And then I talk about this. So that's the 3-step hook formula that you can use for your next post. Super simple and super good. It's one of those fundamentals that always seem to work. That's hence why it's a fundamental. So some of the like best practice or like non-negotiables I have for myself in terms of hooks is that a hook needs to be super specific. A hook needs to be direct and leave no room for guessing. So something that I've tested before is like, hey, stop wasting 10 plus hours a week of content and does not convert. It doesn't leave much open for like imagination, right? It's super clear that, okay, stop wasting hours on something that does not work. Gotcha. The second non-negotiable for myself, and this is also something I highly recommend to my clients, is like how I or my hooks, because those are personal. Like everyone under the sun these days can write how-to content, right? Especially with AI and ChatGPT and whatnot. But not everyone can write how I or my. It's like very personal, right? So as you can see in the example here, is I hated LinkedIn DMs until I made multiple 6 figures. I turned everything I learned into a free mini course. It is specific, it's personal, and of course, due to the reason the hook did very well. And then number 3, you can't see because I think I'm blocking it, but this is it states prioritize outcomes, be clear on the benefit. As you can see here in the second line of the hook, I'm making very sure that if someone clicks see more, or more in this case, they know exactly what is coming. So that's the part on hooks. So this is kind of like a high level overview. Like I said, I've created a bigger training on hooks. So if you want to write better hooks, comment hooks below, and I will send you our exclusive LinkedIn hook training within 24 hours. And while I'm waiting for some people to get this done, I'm going to put off the heater because it's hot as heck in this room. All right. Thanks for waiting, even though you didn't have a chance. All right. So hook guide, comment hooks below, and then I'll send it to you. But we're not done with hooks because, like I said, 95% of the success of your post, of your content, has to do with your hook. And this is something is super, super important because, especially with adding more visuals, which I will go over later in this section, is that I want to make you aware of the fact that every post with visuals has 2 hooks. It has a written hook and it has a visual hook. And the framework that I use is that with the written hook, I lead with emotion. So I want to capture the attention by evoking curiosity, urgency, or empathy. I want to focus on the reader's pain point, desires, and unexpected insight. When you think back of a few slides ago, I highlight and agitate the problem, right? With the visual hook, what I want to do is I want to drive action. So I want to reinforce the written hook with clarity and actionable content, highlight the solution. Remember, the third part of the three-step formula, the hook formula, was step number 1 was problem, step number 2 was agitation, and step number 3 was solution. So as you can see here with the visual, I'm basically like pulling the solution, the third line, forward to the visual, because now I'm like, hey, 99% of LinkedIn does not know how to post for leads. That's the problem. Then I'm like agitating it. Once you get this, everything about LinkedIn content changes. So I'm almost creating FOMO. I'm like, okay, I have the problem. I'm creating FOMO, but then I'm also giving away the solution, how to create LinkedIn content to get leads, and even a giveaway. So this is the visual hook. So these two work hand in hand. So next time you're creating a post with a visual, make sure that there's congruency, or that there is alignment between the written hook and the visual hook. Because as you can see, I take up the whole space. Like normally, if you do text only, this is only my post. But now you can see I literally take up the whole screen from the reader. So there's more real estate for me there. So super, super important. And then something that I've seen happening a lot on LinkedIn is that people make a hook a question. And it was not till I saw this this post by one of my friends, Ruben Hassid. I don't know if you know him. He writes a lot about AI. He said it perfectly. He's like, a hook is not a question. It makes you question instead. So his hook, the example he gave is like, he did not say, do you feel LinkedIn changed? No, this is what he wrote. He wrote, LinkedIn is not broken, but the rules have changed. By just putting it that way, the reader is like, okay, there's a statement, but the rules have changed. It instantly opens a loop, like a gap. I'm like, what are the rules? What has changed? Will it affect me? Do I need to know this? While this, do you feel LinkedIn change, is more of like a yes, no, and then I go on with my day, right? But this is almost like, it makes me ponder. It opens my curiosity, and hooks just work on creating a curiosity gap. If you think back of the example here, I'm like, hey, 99% of LinkedIn doesn't know what to post for leads. Once you get this, everything about LinkedIn content changes. And people are like, what is this? What's the secret I need to know, right? It opens a curiosity gap. So next time you feel inclined to make a question for your hook, try to frame it in the form of a statement, because that opens up more curiosity. So this has been such a powerful paradigm shift. So that's pillar number 1, hooks. Let me in the meantime check if I've got some questions. Otherwise, we continue. I see a comment that the training is stuck from a few minutes ago, but also, are we good, guys? Is everything running smooth? I think so. Didn't get any other feedback. Yeah, I think when you have some issues, it's what Hannah says. Just refresh the screen. Okay, I take that as a yes. Sorry for the delay. Thanks for waiting. Authority content, like I said, super important. So what I'm going to do here in this session, I'm just going to talk you through what authority content is. First, I'm going to show you a little bit how it works. So what you want to do with this content, you want to build trust, and by showing results and sharing insights, this positions you as a go-to expert in your niche or in your industry. But you also want to educate your audience to nurture leads. So you see here in the example, I would say it's leaning towards an educational post, because I'm educating my audience on like the 4 don'ts and the 5 do's. But I'm also included things that I can say. So if I zoom in, you see that I talk about the 5 tactics that got me 1.1 million views in the last 90 days, plus hundreds of warm leads. I add in elements here that I'm like, hey, I made multiple 6 figures on LinkedIn in the last 2 years, and I spent hours on compiling the ultimate toolkit. If you want it, comment below. So I'm mixing in authority with educational content. Cool. I was just checking the chat, but I think we're running smooth again. So authority content, how to write this. So the TLDR here is that you want to think of, okay, what's the educational value? What can I combine with the personal story? That's a key. Like I said, everyone these days can write educational how-to content, but not everyone, I would say no one actually has access to your personal story. So yes, you want to share frameworks or strategies that solve problems for your audience, but you also want to make sure that you use case studies to highlight measurable results. And you want to add personal insights to humanize your experience. So what I want to highlight with the case studies, is that you always want to find a way to show it instead of tell it. Like, I can tell you guys how to get to 10K plus months on LinkedIn, or I can show you like just sharing a case study, right? Because I'm like, hey, this is the results. Way more valuable, maybe more trust building than just words, right? And then the other thing that's important to understand with authority content is that you want to write content that only you can publish. So whenever you have like a post that's, let's say it's leaning towards a generic post, what are the elements? What are the personal stories, the personal anecdotes, the insights working with clients on that? What are the things that you can infuse, like the little details here and there? As you can see here, like most of the post is educational, like do's, don'ts, here's a bit, but only I can write this. Sure, someone else can copy it, but then they still need to adjust it to their numbers or their situation, and not lying, right? But they can copy this. But that's the thing, like content will always be copied, but you want to make sure that you create content that can only be published on your feed. And that's where the specificity comes in. And someone asked me yesterday about how to set up stand out with your brand in 2025. And I would argue that authenticity or personality in content is getting more and more important, because with the flood of generic AI content, like I said, everyone can push it out, but no one has access to your stories and your client results. So make sure to infuse it into your content. So I've got a few examples here. So authority content in action, part 1. As you can see here, this is a typical case study where I just break down how Linda built a new offer after trying everything, and then she closed that on $7,500 with a brand new offer. Or here, it's educational, it's leading, but it's also, there are elements in there that only I can say, because I work with Tobias specifically on this. So together we made like $50,000 on LinkedIn in like a few months for him. So that was of course super good. And I'm not just presenting the authority, but I'm also making sure that I educate my audience. So I'm basically literally walking them through the steps of how Tobias got to these results. And that's what I see authority content in action. The second example here is, and this is an interesting one, is it's a mix again. So it's educational value. It's like I just break down how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, but I infuse personal details that only I can say. For example, this, I'm adding some things here, but the rest is just educating my audience, right? However, I also included a personal or like a giveaway, and as you can see, the post went pretty viral. So to me, that's just a very nice combination between, okay, how can I educate my audience on a specific topic, but always make sure that the content is specifically to me and no one else can say that. So super important example. And as this is such an important example, and it went pretty viral on LinkedIn, I broke it all down. So if you comment viral in the comment section, I will send you this whole case study breakdown within 24 hours. So it's a full breakdown of why this post with like 150,000 views and like 1,400 comments. I think this post we generated like 500 leads into our CRM system, which is pretty nuts. Just one post. That's what I said in the beginning, right? Like the right post cuts through the noise. So if you want to have access to this case study, comment viral in the comment section, and then we'll make sure to send it to you. All right. Cool. I think we're getting there. The reason I paused because I was figuring out if there's a delay in the stream, but of course that's hard to test because most likely you guys get this later. So anyways, if you want to get this, comment viral below. Then pillar number 3. So I would say deeper than authority content is what we call hand raiser posts, and these are excellent for generating leads. So bear with me as I walk through this. So what are hand raiser posts? These are posts that are designed to spark immediate action, and these are posts that you cannot say, but create DMs by making clear and simple offers. So if I just break down this is like a part of a hand raiser post that we did recently. I'm just calling out the audience. That's why I'm looking for 5 entrepreneurs who want to win on LinkedIn. I'm sharing a little bit more about the system. I'm including case studies, and it's a very clear call to action. If you're a coach, consultant, or agency owner doing more than 5K in revenue per month, and you want to get consistent leads flow via LinkedIn, this might be for you. Message me, client, and I shoot over the details. So some people call it sales post. Some people call it conversion post. I like to call them as hand raiser post because basically what I'm doing is like, hey, raise your hand if you're interested in what I have to tell you. Like I just broke it down. Like we have a system to get your results on LinkedIn, yada, yada. Want this, want more info, raise your hand. That's how cool these things are. So writing effective hand raisers comes down to a few things. Like I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty right now because we could spend 2 hours on hand raises alone. But writing effective hand raises comes down to the following few things. You want to use a clear and direct call to action. This is something that's been working a lot on LinkedIn. DM me keyword if you want to achieve this. If you want to get to, let's say, what we use, achieve 10K plus months on LinkedIn, or if you want to achieve, let's say, if you want to lose 20 pounds, right? DM me this if you want more information on that. Focus on one clear outcome. That's something that I see often go wrong. People do too many things in there, so it's very clear and very unclear and very confusing. My rule of thumb, and I will go over call to actions in a second, is one ask. So what's the one main ask that you want your audience to take after reading your post? Not 5, 1. And this is something optionally for hand raising posts, add urgency. So let's say you're a service provider and you can only onboard 5 people a month. Just highlight that because that's a unit of scarcity, and might move people over the line. So, like I said, hand raisers is a game on its own. But what I've done, I've extrapolated one of our best performing hand raisers from 2024 from last year, and I put it into a template that you can see on the screen here. So if you want to get access to this template, comment template below, and we send you this document after the training. And then you can just start writing your hand raiser. So the framework is above. I don't think you can see it. Yeah, the framework is right here, and I included an example. So that just allows you to, follow the prompts, like state main frustration of your ideal client, and then you can see, okay, what did Jesse write? So you get some examples there. So this is a nice exercise. If you have never written a hand raiser post, you want to test it out. Like I said, these posts are great in terms of getting inbound DMs. Disclaimer: these posts usually don't get you a lot of likes and comments, but that's not the point of that post. So that's something to be mindful of. But again, it's about what you're after, right? If you want to get inbound leads and close clients, or are you just over the dopamine hit from likes, right? Pick your battle there. So with that being said, pillar number 4, clear call to actions. So I tapped in this a little bit with the hand raisers, but why clear call to actions matter is that they guide your audience to take the next step. Because without call to actions, people might engage with your post, but they don't convert. And every post should have a clear, actionable ask. And I'm not saying that with every post you need to ask people to DM you. But let's say you've created a very nice educational post with some personal details in there, like let's say an authority piece, which I mentioned before. The call to action can be that, hey, found this valuable, share it with your audience. Or you can ask a question that relates to the post. So questions, asking to share, the DM, sign up to a newsletter or to an external like link. All these things can be call to actions. So what I see with call to actions a lot is people make too many asks at once. So as you can see in this example, this person is like asking me to connect, and I also need to hit the bell, and I need to follow him. And all these hashtags are also call to action, because if I click on this, I get to a different page. And you don't want to send people away from your post, right? So too many asks at once is something that people make the mistake a lot, or being vague. And this one is similar. As you can see, there's a lot of asks. Don't want to miss out. Like, okay, miss out on what? Make sure that you get on the list via the links in the comments. Okay, that's ask number 1. And then ask number 2, are there any recommendation? Drop them below. I'm like, okay, I already forgot what this person is asking me, right? So my rule of thumb, call to actions, keep them as clear and as clean as possible. Don't add any fluff. Opt for clear, not clever, and make just one ask. Like, ask yourself, after someone reads this post, what is the main action I want them to take next? So just opt for simplicity there. Call to actions is a name on its own, or is a game on its own as well. So what I've done, I've looked into the data we have, and I've put together the 6 call to action that always seem to work. So if you want to have access to this training with like the examples, why they work, which call to action you need to use when, comment call to action below, and again, then we'll send it to you in the next 24 hours. So this can be super important if you have like the post and the hooks nailed, and you are like, okay, cool, I got these points in place, but now I need to create better call to action. How can I do that? Then this guide is right for you. And that brings me to pillar number 5, the viral visuals. So why visuals matter? Well, it's kind of obvious that visuals grab attention and boost engagement, right? It's either a text-only post, or you have the whole page filled with your visual. It also allows you to make complex ideas simple and easy to understand. And what we've seen is that posts with visuals are 3 times more likely to perform well. Of course, this is an average, but usually we see those posts with, like, let's say, infographics or a personal image. Like, this is a personal story about my baptism earlier this year. Did super good because people enjoyed reading that. This is the post that we've broken down before. Some of the other infographics. This is the style that we see a lot on LinkedIn, like the tweet style I like to refer it to. So all these visuals always have to work together with the post and add value. So 3 types of visuals that in 2024 and I would say 2025 still work are the educational graphics, or some people call this like infographics or visuals, whatever you want to call it. Like I said, it allows me to present inbound versus outbound lead gen in a very clean overview. So I can cram a lot of information in one visual, right? And the more time someone spends on the visual, the higher the dwell time, the more the post get pushed to the algorithm. Secondly, we can look at social proof screenshots. So highlight the results and clients' wins. So this is like a case study testimonial we did with Linda. So that's something I can do with a visual. And then these are, I would say, more known, like carousels posts. So these break down like complex ideas into bite-sized swipeable slides, how to fix your LinkedIn DMs and book more calls. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I'm a big fan of carousels. Like, a big part of my content is actually like carousels. I run like 5 to 6 carousels a week. Why? Because they allow me to just cram a lot of information. Like, usually they're like between like 20 to 25 slides, and I can just cram a lot of information and thus value in that. Instead of just a post where I have like 200 words, I can have someone just read to the carousel, and now they start to understand, okay, how can I fix my DMs and book more calls? Because I know that's a legit problem my audience has. So there might be people here in the call that are like, okay, I want to fix my LinkedIn DMs and I want to book more calls. Well, if you see a carousel like this, I'm giving you value. I'm like, hey, here's how you do it. Good luck. So these 3 types of visuals that work almost always. And then there are a few things that you want to avoid with visuals. Like, for the record, I'm not a professional designer, so I'm not going to go extremely detailed into visuals. But by being in the trenches for quite a few years, I can definitely share some pointers. Something that I've seen doesn't work well is overloading with text. So you want to keep graphics simple and to the point. Low quality designs. So sure, that is subjective, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not a professional designer. So what helped for me is just to stick with like more like simple design instead of like trying to be the next Photoshop designer. And misaligned visuals. This is something that, let's say, there is no congruency between the written hook, what I said before, and the visual hook. So always make sure that they complement one another. So suggestion here you can do is a side-by-side example of, like I said, you can, like this is a great visual where it just contributes the rest of the post, because the post above it, like the written post, went about the difference and how you can apply it, and then this is kind of like a summary of what I've been told. So again, it just gives me more place to share information and value to the audience. So let's recap, because I covered a lot. So the 5 core pillars in order for you to write content that attracts high quality leads and clients on LinkedIn comes down to hooks, authority content, hand raiser posts, call to actions, and visuals. So with hooks, like I said, 95% of your post performance comes from that. So you want to make sure that these are super good. So I would argue that you spend most of your time writing the hook. I think there was this quote, I don't know who said it, but I think in the market, or like in the paid advertisement world, that they say like, okay, if you have to spend 80% of your budget on the hook, or on like the first part, and the rest is on like the rest of the post. So that means how important it is. Secondly, we're gonna write authority content. We wanna post hand raiser posts. We want to make sure our call to actions are clear, and we want to infuse the right visuals. So like I said, it's a lot, but hopefully this has been clear in terms of breaking down how the content works that you can push on LinkedIn. And this is part like of the exact system. Like the content is a part of the exact system that has helped one of our clients, Gabrielle, who got her first dream lead in like the first few days. And in the first few weeks together, she made already 15,000 euros in 4 weeks. I shared this example in the beginning. And that's just how powerful putting yourself out on LinkedIn, having the content go, having the conversations, and everything just works. Another example, Linda, who we worked with recently, or still working with actually, we built a new offer kind of from scratch based on the experience and based on the case that she has done before. And within 2 months, he signed a 7,500 client on LinkedIn. Super good, especially it came on Christmas morning. So I can imagine she had a great Christmas. And our friend John, who signed 3 retainer clients in 2 months, which is of course super good. But the biggest thing for me is like when we talked about the partnership, he's like, yeah, now I got marketing skills I can use for the rest of my life. So for me, that's super cool. Yes, I love helping people get clients and stuff. But if they tell me like, hey, you changed my view on marketing, or now I know how to write content on LinkedIn for the rest of my days, that's a big one. Super, super good. So if you made it to the end and you're like interested in, okay, this sounds good, there is something that I can share with you. So we launched the Authority Figures program yesterday, so in the first few days. And this is the program that we have to help you get to 10K plus months consistently. And we're launching now, like I said, so that's why we're offering a 30% discount for the next few people. And we have limited it as 10 people this month. So it's first come, first serve. If that's something like you want to get more information on, DM me the word program, and then we send you more details. You can see in the screen here, this is just an overview of the course build-up. We use School with the community, the classroom, the live sessions, everything is hosted in there. It's a program that just step-by-step gets you to building the system. If you were here yesterday, I talked about the whole system, but it's basically the system that you use on LinkedIn to get to 10K plus months consistently, just as like the clients that I just shared. So if you're interested in this, DM me the word program, and then we'll reach out with more information.